the Philippines call the U.S. military in fight of Chinese aggression in South China Sea. In a first under the President Duterte administration, Manila says it is prepared to invoke its mutual defense treaty with the United States military in the face of Chinese aggression in South China Sea territory. Foreign Secretary Teodora Locsin Jr. also vows to continue air patrols over the South China Sea territory that Beijing has denounced recently as illegal provocations. Recently, Philippine Foreign Secretary Teodora Locsin Jr. said Manila will invoke its defense agreement with the United States if China attacks its naval vessels in the South China Sea. And his comments mark the first time the President Duterte administration has openly declared it would turn to Washington for help to ward off Chinese aggression amid ongoing flare-ups between Manila and Beijing in the disputed waters. Locsin said, "If something happens that is beyond incursion, such attack a Filipino naval vessel in region, means then I will call up Washington, D.C., he said. Pressed by presenter Karen Davila on the circumstances that would make Manila make the call to the United States recently, he refused to go into specifics, saying I will not discuss that because the essence of deterrence theory is uncertainty, he said. Locsin recently has spoken to the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo after Beijing said the United States would support countries who believe Beijing had violated their own claims. Beijing has often relied on its 9-line map that aimed to claim historic rights over the sea region, which has been challenged by some countries as the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, Brunei, and also including Vietnam, when tensions erupted in the South China Sea. Pompeo had spoken to a host of foreign ministers from the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations bloc recently, and including Locsin. And State Department note on the call saying, both men discussed the recent change in American policy on maritime claims in the South China Sea region. And this United States support for Southeast Asian coastal states, and also as opportunities for further between the U.S. and Philippine maritime cooperation. Locsin did not want to elaborate on the discussion but said in the ANC interview, I was talking to the Secretary of State, and these are things that are not yet ripe for revelation, said Locsin at the show. Beijing might perceive it as a sign of continuing strategic alignment between Manila and also Washington, said a research fellow with the foreign policy think tank Asia Pacific Pathways to Progress, Aaron Jed Rabena, that asked to comment on Locsin's remarks. Rabena said that when Pompeo visited the Philippines in March 2019 Mike Pompeo had said that the Mutual Defense Treaty will be activated if China initiates an armed attack on any member of the Philippine Armed Force, public vessel, and also aircraft in the South China Sea. The Philippines was just more assertive in safeguarding the country's sovereign rights, also in interests because the government feels that it needs to respond to the actions of the Chinese side, said some analysis. Since year 1951 the U.S. military and Philippines have had a mutual defense treaty that commits them to supporting each other in the event either is attacked in region. Under the U.S. president, the United States backed away from a concrete commitment that aimed to apply the treaty to the Philippines' maritime territorial disputes with China in the time of Barack Obama. Contrast Locsin also said, the Republican administrations have always been very firm about the United States' commitment to freedom and also independence of nations. And he said, the President Trump administration had pivoted to Asia that aimed to assert fundamental things, independence, sovereignty of states, and also a guarantee against aggression to preserve a country's freedom, he said. The Philippines over the past few months, in its territorial dispute with Beijing has become increasingly strident and assertive. And China is currently conducting 6 days of exercises in the South China Sea near the Paracel Islands region, where Vietnam has competing claims in region, and recently Beijing also next to a second set of drills in the area in 2 months.